Hi, I'm back today doing a little tutorial on color mixing. This is Karen Graves from Stonewall Watercolors. And one of my students asked to do a tutorial about color mixing, so here we are. And one question was how to get the paint as dark, really dark colors. And one of the secrets to that, the first secret is before you even start to do anything to get your paints all set up, the first thing you want to do is drop some water into each one of the wells that have your paints in them. Even the ones you think you're not going to use, do it anyway. It's not going to hurt anything. The paints won't go bad. But then the paints will be ready and you won't have to dig like crazy to get the paint out to get it thick and make a really dark color. The other solution is to squeeze a new fresh paint right out of the tube. But you don't want to keep doing that every time because you don't want to waste the paint. So that is my tip. First, get the paint in the tubes. And then another tip is to get yourself a color wheel. Just Google color wheels and you'll come up with something like this and print it out. And it's really handy to, just as a reminder that your complementary colors, when mixed together, will make the color darker. For example, yellow and violet are complementary, so if you're painting yellow and you want a darker version of yellow, mix a little purple in with it. The same with green and red and blue and orange. So today I'm going to show you, I'm going to start out with blue. And what I've got here is an ultramarine blue. And if I just take some of this, this is straight from here. It's nothing's mixed in with it. And just paint out some of it for you. You can see you get a pretty dark blue. Of course, that's going to dry a little lighter than what you see there on the paper. So the complement to blue is orange, and orange tends to be a very strong, intense color. So you want to just mix a little bit at a time into the blue. So I'm just dragging it just a little bit at a time in there. And then painting it. And getting a darker blue. It's also going to make the blue a little duller, but it's also going to make it darker. I'm just going to mix a little bit more, just to give you an idea, because that first batch was a little watery. Okay, and let's try another one. This is a phthalo green. It's a pretty dark green that I've got here. And here it is on the paper. I'm cleaning this off. And I'm adding just a little red into it. You add just a little at a time so that you don't end up going back and forth and wasting a lot of paint. Okay. And there's my darker green. And one more example is with yellow. Here's my yellow. Painting that on the paper. And I'm going to take a little of this yellow, put it over here, and add just a little bit of purple into it. And you can see this is turning it a little bit orange, but it's definitely darker than the original yellow. And not every complement is going to be exact. There is no exact red or exact purple because these are man-made paints, and it's pretty much impossible to duplicate what actual color is. So this purple, as you see, I mixed it in there and made it a little kind of orangey. So if it's a little bit too much orange, that purple might have needed a little bit more blue in it. So let's just see what happens when we add just a little bit more blue. And it's actually too much because that turned it a little bit too green. But you can see it's a darker yellow, darker version of yellow, kind of muddier. And just another reminder for your setups, you always have 2 cups, one with that you clean your brush in and one to have clear water in. And another tip is I set myself up, and you can just do this on scrap pieces of paper, or you can get yourself a book. This is a Strathmore visual journal book. It's 140-pound paper. It's 9 by 12, and they're pretty inexpensive. And then you can take each one of your paints and draw them out, and so that you can see what you have, write down the names. And I also use, after I paint it on, I take a brush with clear water and see how easily you can pick the paint back up. You can see, like, this is a staining paint. You can't get it all back up. It stains the paper. And like this ultramarine blue is not. It sort of sits on top of the paper more, so it's easier to get it right back down to the white of the paper. And then I also do that in my book, little mixing charts where I mix, like here's cadmium yellow and here's a violet that I've mixed together to show the varieties of colors that you can get by just mixing those 2 colors together. And this is really great reference when you want to go back and check to look for a certain color that you're trying to make. So another idea is, before you ever start a painting, is to make a little color chart of the paints you're going to use and the mixes you're going to use, and keep them aside as a reference, and like pick out what the lightest values are that you're going to need and the darkest values. And it's a great reference for when you're actually doing a painting. For example, this one that I did, this is Victorian turrets. I started with this reddish purplish kind of color, and it's actually called, I have a hard time pronouncing, it's quinisidrone magenta. Anyway, this is a QRO paint, and I started by just doing this lightest possible color in here, let it dry, mixed a slightly darker one, just using more of the same paint. And then when I got to these really dark colors, I mixed green, which is the opposite of red, in to get these really dark purpley kind of colors in the mix. So I hope this is helpful. Please send me more questions. Love to hear from you.